Wait, what?
All right, guys, we are live and we're going to behave ourselves, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can you saw?
Everybody's going to behave. We're not going to have any issues.
Okay. I want my issues.
No, let's not have any issues.
You
Okay.
gotta go to the play.
So let me get
Yeah.
my.
Phone is right behind you.
We are? We are live.
Why do you say that now? Everybody's gonna see us.
See us what?
See us talk about.
What are you talking about, child? Leave it plugged in, please.
I'm not your child.
You're not my child. Okay, so who are you? So go ahead.
Molly.
Hi, Polly. Everybody say hello to Polly.
Polly Pocket. Her name's Polly Pocket.
Her name is Polly.
Not Polly Pocket, but I do want.
Okay, so Polly, why don't you tell us how you know my daughter Ariel and why you're in my house?
Oh, it's because when we used to go to Eden Primary School, we always used to go to the cafeteria.
Be louder so they can hear you.
At Eden Primary School, back there, like there's a house there, and then back there's a school behind that house.
Mm-hmm.
When we used to go there, we used to like buy food, like ideas and slushies and eat and drink stuff and eat. Sometimes we buy food.
Okay. Do you think it's weird that you look just like my daughter Ariel? Do you think that's weird? Nobody's ever said that to you?
Hmm?
Nobody's ever told you that you look like my daughter Ariel?
Ariel did.
Ariel told you that you look like Ariel. Oh, isn't that interesting?
What kind of twins?
Oh, you're twins, but I didn't get birth.
I said what kind of.
Oh, excuse me, sorry. All right, kind of.
I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm sorry.
All right, kind of twins.
Tell me in the comments if you're getting bored of my name being Kumar.
Yeah.
His name is called Demon.
Tell him if you want him to change his name to something besides what his name is.
My name is called Demon.
Stop messing with your foot. That's why your foot's bleeding. Leave your foot alone. Yeah. Do your children play with their feet? They're always playing with their feet, and I don't understand.
I got pockets in my dress.
Look, she is a true woman. She's excited about the pockets in her dress. So what's your name? You're Kamari? All right, Kamari, as always. So Kamari, please stop doing that with your dress. Kamari, as always.
No, Kamari.
Okay, just Kamari.
Kamari.
Why don't you tell everybody how your week was?
Good.
That's it? That's all you want to say is good?
We didn't really do nothing.
Yeah, this week wasn't that exciting, but that's still okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share?
So,
what about your spelling test?
Oh, today.
Today?
Yesterday. Okay. Sorry.
You're kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, sir.
Excuse me.
So yesterday, what happened, Kamari?
I got 100% on the spelling test.
I got 90.
Yay! Ariel got it at 90%. They've been struggling. Polly. Well, I gave a spelling test to Ariel yesterday, so I don't know.
I got 92 at my house.
At your house. Okay, good job. Yeah. High five. High five.
Don't take my high five.
You didn't take your high five.
That's what.
Yes. What?
Hi.
Okay, I'm ready to go. Sorry about that. We're set. We're ready. We're locked and we're loaded. Let me get here.
This feels like one big walk.
Let me get here so I can get to the comments. Shalom, Darius, and whoever else is watching.
Mr. Darius or Mrs. Darius?
That would be a Mr. Darius. Please don't touch my phone.
Hi, Mr. Darius.
Okay. So today we're going to be finishing up talking about Joseph. We started talking about Joseph last week, and I skipped over the whole ending because it wasn't relative to what we were talking about, which was Joseph's enduring faith, which most of that happened in like the first half of his life. So we talked about his enduring, patient faith last week, and this week is more just story time, just finishing up kind of what happened at the end and helping my children and helping your children to understand and realize how Joseph and what happened with Joseph and the children of Israel, and Israel's children, and how it connects to Moses and how we came out of Egypt. Yes, Polly, not Pocket. No, but I will have a project. She asked me, do I have a project? And I don't have one. I mean, I looked at some ones, but I have to go back and refresh my memory as to what we're gonna do. I saw another sister. She, Little Lights, I think is what her name is, on Facebook. You guys check them out. They're really cute. She shared a project they did on Joseph, and they took burlap and they glued. Burlap is like this really rough. I'm trying to think what you would have seen it on. Usually you see it around like the end of the year, and it has to do with like Thanksgiving and Halloween. You see it a lot. Like it's that brown, really itchy, rough stuff. Like sacks, like old hay stacks, like sacks are made out of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's burlap. So they took that and they she cut out little silhouettes of like not turbans, but tunics, like robes and stuff. And they took pipe cleaners and they glued the pipe cleaners, colorful pipe cleaners, on the burlap tunics and made Joseph's coat. But anyhow, moving on. I actually kind of wanted to do a game about patience. That's what I was going to figure out for you guys to do, but I haven't quite put all those pieces together because I had a lot going on today. So anyways, so we left off last week. We skipped over Joseph's end of his life, and you guys are upset. So we're going to jump back in. But before we jump back in about what happened in Joseph's life, I want you to explain to me what we covered so far. We're going to start with Polly. Even though you weren't here last week, I'm sure you, for some odd reason, will know what we studied last week. So go ahead and tell them, hey, what are you doing? Oh, neither of you have Bibles.
That's what I was like, what?
Go, shoot. Go get Bibles. While they go get their Bibles, I'm going to sit here. Oh, okay, she's talking right there. I'm going to sit here and drink my water. I'm thirsty.
Dun, 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 dun. So, I met you.
Our ice cream came out, and I was like, are you guys done?
Of course not. Of course we're not done yet.
We just walked in. What the?
We just got started. Kamari, stop it.
I'm trying to get this.
Get what?
My water bottle.
No, because I already said no. Get up here now.
No what?
I said no water.
Mom is such a bitchy.
Okay. So, Polly, go ahead and tell us what happened, what we studied last week, and what happened in Joseph's life so far.
There was a famine for I think 9 or 8 years. I think it was 8 years, and Joseph was the boss. I think I can't remember the name.
Pharaoh's second in command. Mm-hmm.
Second in command, so he got to get all the food, and everybody soon ran out of food, so they all went to Egypt. Was Egypt far from his dad and mother's house?
I don't think it was that far. Okay, what do you want to share about what we learned last week?
What we covered is that Joseph got thrown into a pit. They saw this people coming. They saw him. He got in Egypt.
Okay, so Joseph was thrown in a pit because of his brothers. Why did they throw him in a pit? Because of jealousy, and they hated him. Good job, Kamari. And then they sold him on to some people, which were the Ishmaelites, right? And the Ishmaelites took Joseph where?
To Egypt.
To Egypt. Speak louder so everybody can hear you.
Egypt, and then he got second in command. Then Pharaoh's wife was trying to marry him.
No, Potiphar. So he was second in command at Potiphar's house, and
then Potiphar's wife tried marrying him, and he was like, no, but man went into total lie and went to jail for 10 years.
And then Joseph had to go to jail. It doesn't say how long he was in jail, but then just went to jail. Good job. Leave your feet alone. Thank you.
I don't think that was
And then he was in jail, and then Potiphar had a dream. And
No, Pharaoh had a dream.
Pharaoh had a dream, and then the butler came and told Pharaoh about what is it?
That Joseph interpreted their dreams while they were in prison.
Yeah, and then he came and told him what it was. And
he told him what his dream meant. He interpreted the dream for Pharaoh.
And then he became second in command at Pharaoh's house and was in charge of getting all the food ready.
Good job. That's perfect.
And for 7 years, not 8.
Yes, for 7 years there's gonna be famine. There's 7 years of plenteous and then 7 years of famine. Good job, guys, both of you guys. Pat on the back. All right, so that's where we're gonna pick back up. We're gonna pick back up at Pharaoh's dream because that's really the biggest chunk of where we stopped at. And
when they met their family.
No.
Yeah, when he.
Well, I know I talked about that, but I mean, like the bigger part, I just threw that in there. But the bigger part where we stopped was at Pharaoh's dream, right? So, what do you think that Pharaoh dreamed about that frightened him?
The famine.
People started dying off.
Okay, so you think Pharaoh saw like people dying off? Mm-hmm. Okay, what do you think that was
the famine.
And like there was no food, and they were looking for food, and like they never came back.
Okay, so let's go to Genesis chapter 41.
Genesis.
Yes, let's go to Genesis.
There. Chapter 41, verse what?
What?
I'm gonna read. It's not. That will give you guys a chance to read, but mostly we're just covering the story because that's what you guys want to know.
21.
I'm gonna read starting in verse 1. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by a river. And behold, there came out of the river 7 well-favored kine and flat flesh, and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean flesh, and stood by the other kine upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and lean flesh kine did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kine. So Pharaoh worked. So that was the first dream. And Pharaoh went back to sleep. And he slept and dreamed as the second time. And behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon a stalk, rank and good. And behold, 7 thin ears and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears. And Pharaoh woke, and behold, it was his dream. Now, if you dreamed a dream like that, what would you feel?
I was like, whoa, what's going on?
I probably be like,
You'd be like, well, what's going on? I don't know. If I dream a dream like that, I'm like, that's a weird dream. I don't know if I would think anything of it, but apparently it was enough for Pharaoh to think something of it. So then after Pharaoh dreamed this dream, what happened? Kamari, because you already said it.
He was like, my champions, guards, jump ropers, get in here. Tell me my dream now. Also kill you.
And nobody was able to tell him but Joseph, right? So Joseph interprets the dream, and Pharaoh sets him up over all of the kingdom to store up the grain for the time of famine. And then we're going to jump.
Whoever answers my dream gets a golden chain and be second in command.
Right. So now we're gonna
get extra land.
We're gonna go to Genesis 41. We're gonna go now to verse 40. Still 41, but verse 40.
There.
Thou shalt be over my house according to thy word shall all the people be ruled. Only in thy throne will I be greater than thou. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I have set thee over the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it on Joseph's hand. Hold on. And he arrayed him in vestures of fine linen and put gold chain about his neck. Yes. We're still in Genesis chapter 41, and we're just on verse 40. And he made him ride in the second chariot which he had, and cried before him, bow the knee, and he made him ruler in the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in the land of Egypt.
What is that?
And pretty much she's saying, I'm the boss, and nobody gets to do anything unless I tell them they can. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name, Zaphenath-Paneah, and he gave him a wife. Shush, Ariel, you're being rude. Senath, and the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On. And Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt, and Joseph was 30 years old, and he stood before Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and throughout all the land of Egypt. So how old was Joseph at this time?
30 years. Oh man, he's been stuck in there for a long time, man.
Yep. So Joseph went into Egypt at, how old was Joseph? When we pick up the story, right? He's 17 years old. So somewhere about 17, he probably lands in Egypt, right? So from 17 to 30, how long did Joseph spend in Egypt?
18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. He spent 17.
13.
13. Good job. So he spent 13 years in Egypt. That's a long time, right? So can you imagine? We have to think about all the things that happened in Joseph's life. So for 13 years, Joseph experienced hardship. And yeah, some of those times were good, but some of those times were spent in prison. Some of those times he was a servant. So do you think you would have been able to endure patiently for 13 years? That's a long time. I don't know if I'd be able to just
years after years. I think years just take forever.
Yeah, years take forever. So to
How
spend
much is it?
Just to have faith in the
365
Almighty.
days.
Just
Okay,
to
I
spend
never
that much
want
time
to
in the
say that.
Almighty, be like, I'm done.
Right, it might feel like it's never gonna end, right? Shalom, Sapphira, and shalom, Keturah, my name twin. My name twin is watching. Her name is Keturah Newman. But we see that Joseph did, right? Joseph endured. He had patient, enduring faith. But do you think that sometimes he probably got depressed?
Yeah.
I would be depressed if I spent that long. So
I would be like, if I could, when they try feeding me, I would grab them by the neck and like take the keys and just, yeah, I'm done.
try to get out. But if you did that, do you think all the greatness that Joseph came to be, or Joseph experienced, or Joseph, like if Joseph tried to run away and get away, do you think he would have ended up as second in command over Pharaoh's house?
He would never be.
Exactly. So he had to be patient, right? He had to endure patiently. That's like what Daddy talked about today, right? He talked about humility and being humble, right? And not allowing pride and stuff.
All the list too.
That was not very nice. Okay. So this is where the whole story starts to get funny. We're going to jump to chapter 42. Genesis chapter 42. So there's no land, no food in all the land in Egypt, and Jacob is like storing up the food, and Joseph's storing up the food, and then Jacob's like, yo, we're hungry.
Jacob?
Jacob. Jacob's like, yo, we're hungry. There's no food. Y'all got to go to Egypt. Egypt's got food. We got to get some food. Go to Egypt, right? So Jacob sends all his sons to Egypt minus Joseph and Benjamin.
Benjamin.
Genesis, we're going to start off at 42, verse 1. And Joseph was governor over the land. You'll find out in a minute. And he, okay. Joseph was governor over the land, and it was that sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brethren came and bowed down themselves before him, and with their faces to the earth. Joseph's brethren came and bowed down before him. Where have we heard that before?
When he had his dream.
When he had his dream. And what did his brother do when he had his dream?
Get jealous.
They hated him for his dream. They're like, are we going to bow down to you? We're not going to bow down to you. And then what happened? They bowed down to him, right? Joseph's dream is coming to pass. Shalom, Korah. Okay, now verse 7. Yes, baby.
This doesn't say eat. What you read?
Somewhere over there. Right here. Somewhere. There you go. No, that's not it. So verse 7, Genesis 42, verse 7. Is that right on? Yep. And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly to them, and said to them, whence come ye? And they said, from the land of Canaan to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew not him. And Joseph remembered the dream which he dreamed of them, and said to them, ye are spies, to see the nakedness of the land ye are come. And they said to him, nay, my lord, but to buy food are thy servants come. And we are all one man's son. We are true men. Thy servants are no spies. And he said unto them, nay, but to see the nakedness of the land are you come. And they said, the servants are 12 brethren, and the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And behold, the youngest this day is with our father, and one is not. And Joseph said unto them, that is it that I spake unto you, saying, ye are spies. Does Joseph really think that his brothers are spies? No.
He should do it. I feel that so bad.
He's getting them back, right? He's like, oh, y'all want to throw me in a pit, eh? I got you.
I would have done that too. After 13 years being in Egypt, I would wreck them so bad.
You were
I would send them in jail, and then I would be like, I'm going to put you in the water. And I'm going to swim on him.
Right.
What I would do is tell them that, hey, look, this is super cool.
No, this is.
And then I was like, here, jump in it. It has acid in it.
You're going to tell them there's a super cool pit and make them jump in the pit and there's acid in there?
I would make them sit. I would make them sit in jail for 15 years. That would just be my.
You make them sit in jail for 13 years. What do you think Joseph's gonna do?
He's gonna like send them for slaves, and like he's gonna bring everybody to the father, and they're gonna and he's gonna show them who he really is.
So you think he's gonna make them slaves, and then he's gonna have a party, and then he's gonna show them who he really is? That's a weird way to show somebody. Like, come on, slaves, let's party. I'm your brother, surprise. Okay, so I think we are at verse 15. So Joseph's messing with his brothers right now. They probably are feeling pretty horrible, right? They're like, oh my God, this guy thinks we're spies. He's gonna kill us, right? They're scared. They're probably like shaking in the boots. Hereby ye shall be proved. By the life of Pharaoh, he shall not go forth hence, except your youngest brother come hither. Well, wait, the youngest brother is where?
Joseph.
With Jacob, right? Joseph was the second youngest. So the youngest brother is Benjamin, and the youngest brother is still with their father. And why do you think their father didn't send the youngest brother?
Because he didn't want anybody to kill him.
They didn't. You gotta speak louder so they can hear you.
They didn't want him to die.
They didn't want the youngest brother to die. Send one of you and let him fetch your brother, and ye shall be kept in prison. That your words may be proved, whether there be any truth in ye, or else by the life of Pharaoh ye are spies. He's having a good time teasing his brothers right now. He put them together in ward 3 days. So he put them in prison for 3 days. And Joseph said unto them the third day, do this and live, for I fear Yah. If ye be true men, let one of your brethren be bound in the house of your prison. Go ye, carry corn for the famine of your house. But bring your youngest brother unto me, so shall your words be verified, and ye shall not die. And they did so. So it ended up being that Simeon stayed. So
what does that mean?
I'm going to tell you. So there was, stop doing that, please. Move it. Initially, there was 12 of them, right? Joseph got sold into slavery and ended up in Egypt. Benjamin was the youngest. So 10 of them came down into Egypt to talk to Joseph. Well, they didn't know it was Joseph. So 10 of them came down to Egypt to get corn. Then 9 of them go back because he makes Simeon stay there in jail. So 9 of them go back.
What's wrong with Simeon?
I don't know why they picked him. Right?
Probably he hated Joseph the most.
I don't know why they picked him. So he tells them to go take corn to their house because, obviously they came down there to get corn. So their house needs to eat. So he can't leave them. I'm at verse 20. So he can't leave them there without going to send corn to the house or the household's going to die, right? So he's got to send corn back. But bring your youngest brother unto me. So shall your words be verified, and ye shall not die. And they did so. And they did one to another. We are verily guilty concerning our brother, and that we saw the anguish of his soul when he besought us, and we would not hear. Therefore is this distress come on us. And Reuben answered them, saying, I spake I not unto you, saying, do not sin against the child, and ye would not hear. Therefore, behold, his blood is required. So they're feeling guilty because they're like, this is happening to us because we put Joseph in the pit. And then Joseph was crying unto us, and he was asking us to let him out the pit, and we didn't listen. And then the Reuben's like, I told you guys. Now look, now we're guilty of blessing. Now his brothers like feel really, really horrible. And they knew not that Joseph understood them, for he spake unto them by an interpreter. Do you guys know what an interpreter is? I'm at verse 23.
Thank you.
So he spake unto them by interpreter. Do you know what an interpreter is, Ariel? I mean, Polly? Put your foot down. Right, so an interpreter is somebody like, if I speak Japanese, right, and you speak English, can we talk to each other? No, because you don't understand me and I don't understand you. So an interpreter is somebody who understands both English and Japanese, and they'll tell you what I'm saying, and they'll tell me what you're saying. That way we can communicate. So Joseph, even though he spoke the same language as his brother, he didn't speak to them. He had an interpreter speak for him. So it just kind of like further made it seem like he wasn't their brother. Right, he's messing with them. And verse 24, and he turned himself about from them and wept, and returned to them again, and communed with them, and took from them Simeon, and bound him before their eyes, right? But he's like, he's rubbing it in, right? He's like, come here, Simeon. But does he feel good about what he's doing? No, how do you know he doesn't feel good?
Because he put him in jail.
Because he cried, right? He loves his brother. So he put Simeon in jail, verse 25. And Joseph commanded to fill their sacks with corn and restore every man's money back into the sack and give them provisions for their way. And thus he did unto them. And they laded their donkeys with corn and departed thence. And as one of them opened his sack to give his donkey provender, which is food, in the end, he espied his money, for behold, it was in the sack's mouth. And he said unto his brother, my money is restored, and lo, it is even in my sack. And their heart failed them, and they were afraid, saying one to another, what is this that Yah hath done unto us? So why do you think there's an issue with their money being in their sack?
Because he put the money back in.
Yeah, but they took that money to pay for the corn. So if they're leaving with corn, shouldn't they not have any money? But now they have corn and money. So what's it going to seem like they're doing? It's going to seem like they're stealing, right? So now they're like, oh my gosh, we're really going to get in trouble. So this is a really good lesson on karma. That's what the world calls it. But the Bible calls it that what you sow, you shall reap. Galatians 6.
Galatians
6. Galatians. No, I can't tell. You'll find it.
I want to read Galatians.
I know you want to read.
Oh, Galatians.
Your Bible's there. You want me to move the fan? Here, Carly, move the fan back. Move the fan back that way.
Yeah, how I find Galatians.
Move it back move it back there. Put it there.
Why don't you just blow it this way so then I can see it?
There.
This way.
Here you go, man. Is that better?
Galatians what?
Galatians chapter 6.
Done.
It's not really much better either. Pardon me, peoples, while I adjust the fan so that it stops blowing their Bible pages, which makes it easier for them to find it.
You know, once you did that, it got really hot.
I know, it got really hot. I'm sorry that it feels that way.
Help me.
It's in the New Testament. That should help.
I am in. Oh, I'm at Galatians.
I've been at Galatians.
Okay, Galatians chapter 6, verse 7.
Galatians.
Go ahead and read, Kai.
Be not deceived, for Yah is not mocked. For whatever a man soweth, that shall be reaped.
Verse 8, keep going.
But for the soweth to his flesh,
For he that soweth
his flesh shall the flesh reap
corruption,
corruption, but he that soweth the Spirit shall the Spirit reap life and everlasting.
keep going, verse 9.
Wait, what? You said verse 8?
Verse 9.
And let us not be weary in the doing of in due season.
And well doing.
In doing in season.
No, let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season
we shall reap if we faint not.
That's right. So if we faint not, we shall reap. So their brothers, did they reap? Did they sow righteously?
No.
Nope, they showed wickedness. So what's going to happen to them?
Wickedness.
They're going to reap wickedness, right? So Yah tells us, this is why Yah tells us to treat people how? How are we supposed to treat people?
How you want to be treated.
Yep, Matthew 7 and 12.
There.
No, I've been there.
No, I'm there. Nice try. I'm already right there. Mom, look. Mom. I'm here. Mom, look.
Okay, go ahead and read. Come on.
I'm there.
Therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men shall do to you, do ye even so to them, for this is the law and prophets.
Right? So treat others how you want to be treated. Mark chapter 12.
Chapter 12, verse 1.
Okay. Verse 31.
I'm
Polly.
30 there. And the second is like
Namely, this.
namely this,
Stop.
this. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is no other command greater than these.
Right? Thou shalt love thy neighbor as I love thyself. This is the second greatest commandment, right? The first one is to love Yah, and the second one is to love thy neighbor, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So they went home, right? They go to their father and they're telling him everything that happened in Egypt. How do you think their father's feeling?
Like, man, we're in trouble.
Louder so they can hear you.
They're like, man, we're in trouble.
Right. You have a shirt over. Is that a shirt? No. Go get you some up here now.
Sock.
I know. I want to know why your sock is over there. Go get
That's
you
my
some-
dad's sock. Not
Well,
mine.
why is your dad's sock over there? How did your dad's sock get there?
Probably because. Oh my God! Ah!
What's happened?
The light. You let Sahara in the room.
I'm happy. That's the end.
Shut that door.
Yes.
Oh, my eyes burn.
Okay.
I'm
Take
sorry.
Sahara out with you.
I'm sorry.
Take Sahara.
Sahara.
You can't break. No.
Sahara. Why can't you stay here?
Because she's gonna be busy. Excuse me. So I can let Sahara out.
Sorry, I just burped.
You
Okay.
with the Dolores, go.
I miss Whitney now. So they went home and told their prophet everything what happened in Egypt. Why stop it? Why stop? Ask why? Why? Ow! Ow! Ow!
Then, I'm gonna open your eyes.
Come I put his hands on my face and now I think it's messed up. I look like an ugly head.
Good.
Ow.
Okay, well, we'll wait. This
It's the
is always
content
my mom's ad.
that we need to skip. Skip!
I'm not skipping this one.
This belongs.
Excuse me.
I want to.
Okay.
No, don't show that pink one.
Why not?
This is the awful copy.
No. Okay. Then we got 3 little Hebrew boys. They're just gonna trash. Alright.
That's rude.
Now we got banging Dahwa righteous flower. Story Nista Peach. Illustrated by Karina Couture Renee.
You're so right. So
Three little
just rude. Just rude. Absolutely, positively
Couture
rude.
Renee. Advanced Writers Edition. 3 Little Hebrew Boys by Couture Renee. Young Writers Edition. They both need golden trash. Every book has some type of weird thing on it. This thing is, what is this?
Darius, come here, these
Making
kids.
dollar righteous
You,
flower.
Darius, you need some
Coloring
kids?
activity book. Not for resale. What does that mean? Nista Perch drawing thing. Nista Perch new comment to writing yet fruitful ideas.
Okay, you're fired. We're moving on. We're moving on.
Trash.
Just rude. These kids just rude. Rude.
I don't even live at your house.
Whatever. You rude too, girl. You rude too. All right. So they explained to their father. They explained to their father everything that happened. Jacob's probably like really upset right now. So he doesn't want to send his youngest son because the only way that they can go back to Egypt is if they bring Benjamin, right? But the reason why he didn't send Benjamin was because he didn't want Benjamin to die or something to happen to Benjamin. So the brothers don't go back to Egypt. They stay in the land of Canaan with their dad. And what do you think's gonna happen?
He's gonna send somebody. I'm gonna be like, come back now. And then like,
Because Simeon's still in jail. Simeon's in jail like, yo, what's going on here? Like, y'all supposed to come back for me. So, all right. So what happens is eventually they run out of food. So what happens when they run out of food? Who's the only place to ask? Who's the only place to ask? Right, Egypt is the only place with food. But they can't go back to Egypt unless they bring who? Benjamin, right? So are they going to go to Egypt? Are they going to bring
and
Benjamin?
plus they have the money in the rags. Extra work.
Right, and they have the money still in the bag. Finally, Jacob's like, fine, just go to Egypt. And if I die with no sons, then I die with no sons, right? Jacob's he's completely just over it. So they go back to Egypt to buy corn. And they took with them, when they go back, they took presents and they took double the money. So they took the money that they were supposed to leave last time and they take more money and they take Benjamin and then they like make all these promises to their dad. They're like, Dad, if we don't bring him back, then, let it be on us. Like, take my children, we're going to bring them back. They're swearing their own lives on the life of Benjamin that, like, they're not going to come back without Benjamin. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Right.
Why do you think it's a bad thing?
Because if they don't come back with Benjamin, the father's going to be like, no.
Nobody can understand you because you're wearing a shirt like you're free. Silly. Right, so they take Benjamin and they go down into Egypt and they stand before Joseph. Okay, now we're jumping to Genesis 40, chapter 43.
And they waited a couple days.
It was more than a couple days. They were gone for a while. Doesn't say, but they were gone for a while.
Genesis chapter 30.
Genesis chapter 43. Genesis chapter 43. And we're going to jump to verse 16.
I'm there.
And when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the ruler of his house, bring these men to my home and slay and make ready, for these men shall dine with me at noon. So wait, so last time you were here, this guy was telling you you're spies, and he says, don't come back without your youngest brother. And you came home with the money you're supposed to leave there, and now he's telling you to come to your house, to his house? I would be so petrified. I'd be like, I'm throwing up. I'm like, oh, I'm so nauseous. I would be a mess. I didn't do it. I'm sorry.
Don't do it. Don't, no, man, no.
This guy wants to take us to his house so he can kill us at his house. Yeah,
no one will know. That will be on the floor.
Nobody
We're
will know.
gonna be buried, and then all the
We're gonna
huts
be
and
buried
worms are
underneath
gonna
his
be
house. Our
Right.
spirits will know.
And
We'll
the,
never come back with Benjamin.
and the man did as Joseph bade, and the man brought the men into Joseph's house.
Man, they're dead.
And the men were afraid because they were brought into Joseph's house. And they said, because the money was returned in our sacks at the first time, we are brought in, that he may seek occasion against us and fall on us and take us for bondmen and our donkeys. And they came near the steward of Joseph's house, and they communed with him at the door of the house. And they said, oh, sir, we came indeed down at the first time to buy food. And it came to pass, when we came to the inn, that we opened our sacks, and behold, every man's money was in the mouth of a sack. Our money was in full weight, and we have brought it again in our hand. Like, hey, look, we went home, and the money was with us. We didn't mean to do it. It's like, here, we brought more money. We're sorry. Here's the money for the first, and here's the money on the second. Hey, Karen. And he said, peace be unto you. Fear not. Oh, sorry. 22, verse 22. And the other money we have brought down in our sacks to buy food. We cannot tell who put our money in our sacks. And he said, peace be unto you, fear not, your God and your Yah and the Yah of your father have given you treasure in your sack. I had your money, and he brought Simeon unto them. So finally Simeon's out of jail. He's like,
Oh, man, you guys left me. I've been stuck in jail, man. I've been stuck eating cake.
Cake? What's cake?
I've been eating junk food, giving me pretzels, hot dogs. I want some nice fresh food.
I'm sure he maybe probably wasn't eating like that.
I was eating some dirt.
Right. So verse 24, and the man brought them into Joseph's house, and he gave them water and washed their feet and gave them their donkeys provender. And they made ready to present against Joseph came at noon. For they heard that they should eat bread there. And when Joseph came home, they brought him the presents which they had in their hand into the house, and they bowed themselves to earth again. Where did we hear that before?
When he had the dream.
Right. And he asked them their welfare and said, is your father well, the old man of whom you spake? Is he yet alive? That's a weird question. You think I'm a spy. You bring me to your house, and then you ask me, is my dad okay? That's weird. Right?
He's just playing around.
He's just like, messing with them.
He's just like,
it's like a kitty.
If I was Joseph, then I
It's
would
like a kitty and a piece of yarn ball.
Right.
He's just like playing with it.
What were you gonna say, Pete? Polly?
If I was Joseph, I would just mess with them all day.
Mess with them all day. Right?
I wouldn't even show
This
my
is-
best.
This is much more fun than throwing them an acid.
Yeah.
Okay. And they answered, thy servant our father is in good health, he is yet alive. And they bowed down their heads and made obeisance. So remember, his dream was that they made obeisance of him, right? They did obeisance before him. The father was like, are me and your brother and your mother going to bow before you? Right? And he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and said, is this your younger brother on whom you spake unto me? Remember, he hasn't seen Benjamin for a very long time. When he left, he was 17, and I don't know how old Benjamin was, but by now, Benjamin was a young child then, and now Benjamin's a man. So, and of whom you spake unto me, and he said, Yah be gracious unto thee, my son. And Joseph made haste, for his bowels to urine upon his brother, and he sought where to weep.
Urine?
Yes.
Pee?
No, not he didn't pee on his brother. Hold on. And
urine? What does urine?
No, yearn. Y-E-A-R-N, not urine. U-R-O, my Lord. Not urine. U-R-I-N-E. So he sought where to weep, where to cry. His stomach, you ever been like something happened and your stomach get all messed up because you're so emotional?
Yeah.
So that's what happened.
What
Like,
does emotional mean?
like he wants to like all his, like he wants to cry, he's sad, he's happy, like everything's going on, and so his stomach feels all bad.
They call it you have a knot in your stomach. Like,
yeah. And he entered in this chamber and wept there. Right? So he sees his younger brother, and he's so happy to see his younger brother, but he doesn't want to mess up what he's doing. So he has to run away and go cry somewhere. So he runs to his chamber and he cries.
Where he used to be in jail?
No, he's second in command over Egypt. So he's like Chamber is like a room. So he ran to his room to cry because they're at his house.
Oh,
So-
I think because what they say chamber and chamber means jail. So I'm like, second in command goes to prison, sits in jail, cry.
Yeah, that wouldn't make very much sense.
That's what I'm like.
Right, so he washed his face, because you know after you cry, like your eyes are all red, and he's like, so he washes his face, and he went out and he refrained himself, and he said, sit on bread. So like, let's hurry up and eat so I can stop crying. And they set for him by himself, and for them by themselves, and for the
Sit on
Egyptian,
bread.
no, like set bread, like set the table, put the food on the table. And they did eat with him by themselves, because Egyptians might not eat bread with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination to the Egyptians. So Joseph didn't sit with his brothers sat by themselves, and then the Egyptians couldn't sit with Joseph. Yes, sweetheart.
Why couldn't they?
We're at verse 32. We're moving on to verse 33.
Why couldn't they?
Well, that's just the rules of Egypt. And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright. So Reuben was at the top, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men marveled one at another. So they're sitting there eating. They're probably like at the table, and they're just like, this is weird. Like, is this poison? Here, you drink this. I'm not gonna drink it. No, you eat
They're
this.
like-
I'm not gonna eat this.
Like
Then
bread,
Joseph looks at them and they're like, this is so good.
just eating bread, just like.
Well, they probably had a whole bunch of stuff, but still, it's just like awkward. Like, why are we here? What are we doing? Is there poison? Right? Is there acid in this food? Like, what's really going on? And
It's
they,
like a demon, like gonna follow us and like take us down in our whole family house.
and he took, verse 34, and he took and sent messes unto them for before him, but Benjamin's mess was 5 times so much as any of theirs, and they drank and were merry with him. But
Mary.
they were happy. So finally, you know, they're all drinking and they like let loose and everything like that, and they're all feeling good and they're having a good time. But Joseph wasn't done messing with his brothers yet.
Oh yeah, this is
Wait.
what.
What do you think Joseph did next?
I know.
Do you want to know? Are you
Yes,
bored?
he's-
This is boring. We're not gonna finish this. Let's just
No, no,
Let's
man.
just, let's just.
No.
I should have just stopped where I
let's
stopped
do
last
some more.
time, and I shouldn't even
Let's
tell
do
you guys
some
the rest of the
more.
story.
Let's do some more.
Okay, Genesis 44.
Okay.
Genesis chapter 44, verse 1. And he commanded the steward of his house, saying, fill the men's sack with food, as much as they can carry, and put every man's money in his sack's mouth. So he put the money back. So now they brought double the money, right? And he's like, fill as much food as they can carry, and put the money back in their sack. And put my cup, the silver cup, in the sack's mouth of the youngest, and his corn and money. And he did according to the word of Joseph had spoken.
Oh,
As soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away, and they and their donkeys. And when they were gone out of the city, so he waited. He didn't do anything yet. He waited. And not yet far off, Joseph said unto his steward, follow after the men, and when thou doest overtake them, say unto them, where have you rewarded evil for good? Is not this it in which my Lord drinketh, and whereby indeed he divideth? Ye have done evil in so doing. And he overtook them and spake unto them these same words. And they said unto him, because he accused them of taking the cup, right? So the steward ran and he met them in the desert. And he said, why did you take Joseph's cup? And they're like, what? And they said unto him, wherefore saith my Lord these words? God forbid that thy servants should do according to this thing. We didn't do nothing. We didn't take his cup. Behold, the money which we found in our sack's mouth, we brought it again unto thee out of the land of Canaan. How then should we steal out of the Lord's house silver or gold? With whomsoever of the servants it be found, both let him die, and we also will be my Lord's bondmen. So they're so confident that they didn't have this gold cup. They were like, whoever's bag you find it in, kill him. And then we'll be your servants. We didn't take your cup. Like, if we wouldn't take your cup, we wouldn't have came back with all the money that we already owed.
oh no!
Who has the cup?
Oh,
Who has the cup?
I'm so sorry, Benjamin.
Benjamin has a cup because the servant put it in Benjamin's cup, right? So verse
And when he checked the things,
hold on. We're at verse 10.
Benjamin, you have to warn.
And he said, now let it it be according to your words. He with whom when is found shall be my servant, and ye shall be blameless. So he's like, nope, I'm only going to take the person who has the cup. You guys can go about your way.
Oh no! Actually,
Then-
because they were like, promise, I'm making promise, man. I'm gonna bring back Benjamin. No.
Right? They told their father that they would bring back Benjamin, and if they didn't bring back,
They would die.
nobody can hear. You're doing it.
Man, I'm just so excited.
If they didn't bring back Benjamin, then that their father could that their lives could go for the life of Benjamin, that they would like not come back without Benjamin. They told their father all these things, and Benjamin has this cup, and the servants, Joseph's servants, like, nope, whoever has the cup, that's who's staying. You guys can go home free. And Joseph knows all this, right? So
How
then,
does he know that his father is sad?
because they told Joseph what Jacob had said. So that's why Joseph's not done messing with him. Joseph's having a good time. He's probably
He's just
in
laughing.
Egypt laughing.
He's just like the whole neighborhood, just like, what is this guy laughing about?
Right.
Oh! He's like,
Okay. Okay, I don't need to tell the rest of the story. Okay. Just stop. Relax. We can get this story. Verse 11. Chapter 41, verse 11. Then they speedily took down every man his sack to the ground, because they know they didn't take the cup, and opened every man his sack. And he searched, and he began at the eldest and left off at the youngest. And the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. And they rent their clothes. Oh, no, Benjamin, why did you do this? And Benjamin's like, I ain't do nothing. And they laded every man his donkey and returned to the city. So the servants like, oh, no. And they're like, no, we're going to go back to the city with you. And Judah and his brethren came to Joseph's house, for he was yet there. And they fell before him on the ground. So they bowed before him again
3 times.
And Joseph said unto them, what deed is this that ye have done? Wot ye not that such a man as I can certainly divine? And Judah said, what that we shall say unto my Lord? What shall we speak, or how shall we clear ourselves? Yah have found iniquity in thy servants. Behold, we are my Lord's servants, both we and he also with whom the cup is found. So they're like, we'll just stay. All of us are going to stay. And he said, God, Yah forbid that I should do so. But the man in whose hand the cup is found, he shall be my servant. And as for you, go up in peace unto your father. And then Judah explains, like, look here, like we can't do that. Like, we can't go home without Benjamin. If we go home without Benjamin, then my dad's going to die. We already told him what happened last time we were here, and he wouldn't even let us come back. And then finally we ran out of food, and he lets us come back. And if we go back home without my little brother, then surely my dad will die. And finally, Joseph, he couldn't take it anymore. At that point in time, hearing that sending them home without Benjamin, I'm talking. Sending them home without Benjamin would break their father's heart and kill their father. He couldn't take it anymore. What were you gonna say?
Okay, take Benjamin, but when you guys come back, bring your father.
Okay, what would you do?
I know.
You don't know? Okay, now we're jumping to Genesis chapter 45. Then Joseph could no longer refrain himself before them that stood before him, and he cried and caused every man to go from me. And there stood no man with him while Joseph made himself known unto his brethren. So he kicked out all of his servants. And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh heard. He was crying so loud that everybody heard. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I am Joseph. Doth my father yet live? And his brethren could not answer him, because they're like, oh,
What?
my.
Oh
my.
no, this can't be true. We're dead. No, we're dead.
Like, Joseph's supposed to be dead. Like, and then now Joseph, you're saying the person messing this whole time, you're saying you're Joseph, right? They're like so confused. And Joseph said unto his brethren, come near to me, I pray you. And they came near, and he said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. Now therefore be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves that ye have sold me hither. For Yah did send me before you to preserve life. So Joseph understood that the reason why all this happened was so that he could save everybody alive. Because if Joseph hadn't gone, who would have stored up corn and stuff for the time of the famine? Nobody, right? Because he wouldn't have known that, Pharaoh would have never known that Joseph could interpret dreams unless Joseph had been in Potiphar's house, then went to jail, had interpreted the dreams, and then have been risen up, right? Verse 6, 45 verse 6. Ariel, Polly, open your Bible. For these 2 years hath the famine been in the land, yet are there 5 years in the which there shall neither be earing nor harvest. And Yah sent me before you to preserve you and you a posterity in the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. Interesting. Pardon me as we take this commercial scarf break.
Okay, look, this book goes in the trash. 3 little Hebrew boys.
Look, I already didn't try.
The worst.
I already didn't try to give you Darius. Darius said he got a house full, so you're gonna be on the street with the dog. I'm gonna put you out there with the pot lickers.
Wait, Darius?
You going out there with the pot? I already tried to give you the Darius. He watching, and Darius said they got a full house. You going out there with the pot lickers?
Wait, what?
I'm putting you out.
Oh, the Most High will just take me to heaven.
Okay, come on, we got a lot more to go. And so it was not you that sent me hither, but Yah. And he had made me a father to Pharaoh, and a lord of all his house, and a ruler through all the land of Egypt. Haste, go up to my father, and say unto him, Thus saith Joseph, Yah hath made me Lord of all Egypt. Come down unto me, tarry not. And thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen, and thou shalt be near unto me, thou and thy children, and thy children's children, and thy flocks and thy herds, and all that thou hast. And there I will nourish thee, for yet there are 5 years of famine, lest thou and thy household and all that thou hast do come to poverty. And behold, your eyes see, and the eyes of your brethren Benjamin, that it is my mouth that speaketh unto you. And ye shall tell my father of all my glory in Egypt, and all that ye have seen, and ye shall make haste to bring down my father hither. And he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck, and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. Moreover, he kissed his brethren, and they wept upon him. And after that, his brethren talked with him. So he wanted his father and everybody to come to Egypt so he could take care of them. Because his father was a great man. He had a lot of sons. He had a lot of camels and everything. And he knew that if his father stayed in Canaan, right, that they would become poor, because eventually they wouldn't have anything left, because there was 5 more years of famine, because they've already been through 2. Now we're going to Genesis 46 and verse 1. And Israel took his journey, and all that Israel's Jacob, remember? Israel took his journey and all that he had, and came to Beersheba, and offered sacrifices unto Yah of his father Isaac. And Yah spake unto Israel in a vision of the night, and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here am I. And he said, I am Yah, the Yah of thy father. Fear not to go into Egypt, for I will make thee a great nation. And I will go down with thee into Egypt, and I will surely bring thee up again. And Joseph shall put his hand upon thine eyes. So Yah is telling Jacob not to be afraid to go in Egypt. Go ahead and go in Egypt. I'm going to make you a great nation, and then I'm going to bring you guys out of Egypt, right? Because remember, there's Abraham, Isaac, and then Jacob. We're talking about Jacob right now. Who had the vision? Out of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which one got the vision that he would make his seed as the sand of the sea, and that he would give them a land? Abraham. The promise was initially given to the police, Ariel. The promise was initially given to Abraham. So if Abraham had a promise of his seed being a great nation, because that's why he didn't want to sacrifice Isaac, because you told me that you're going to make my children as the sand of the sea. Isaac is my son, and then you're telling me to sacrifice Isaac. Well, how is that going to work, right? How are my children going to be as the sand of the sea if I get rid of my only son? So Jacob is being told not to be afraid to go into Egypt. Don't be afraid. I'm going to raise you up. So they go in there, 80 people, and you'll see when they come out of Egypt, they came out of Egypt. I forgot, millions of people of them came out. So that's a lot of people, right? They went in, and in 440 years, it became a whole lot more people. So Joseph, being second in command, set his father and his brother up nicely. Like he gave them like a really good land. Like he just took care of them. That's what you would do, right? Like if you were like the president, would you let me be poor? No, you would set me up.
Well, I would set you up good first. I wouldn't just be like, go home with the son, bring your father back. Me and him will have a nice talk. Bring all your family back. Then after that, I'll set him in jail. The person that the brother wanted, set him in jail. He'll be raised up. The second in command. Then you guys have a nice land. And when they have a nice land.
Boy, you're doing too much. Oh, okay, we're done. Okay, so then Jacob, right? He lived in Egypt about 17 more years before he finally dies. So eventually he dies, and when he died, Jacob made Joseph swear to take his bones up out of Egypt. And Joseph does exactly that. But after their father dies, now the brothers feel like, oh man, the only reason why Joseph didn't kill us was because our dad was alive. Now that our dad is dead, Joseph's going to get us, right? But Jacob was so loved that I'm like not only, you would think that like only Jacob's sons and like his family cried, but like Egypt was crying for Jacob. Like he was such a great man when they came in there. Like Jacob became such a great man that when he died, like everybody was sad. And like there's this whole big like parade for him. So Romans chapter 12, dearly beloved, avenge not 12 and 19, avenge not thyself, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, thus saith the Lord. So do you think Joseph is going to be vengeful to his brothers?
No.
What do you think? You think he is? You think now that the dad's dead, he's gonna kill his brothers?
Nah.
Okay. So Joseph returned into Egypt, and his brethren and all that went up with him to bury his father, and he buried his father. And Joseph's brethren saw their father was dead, and said, Joseph, peradventure hate us, and we certainly requite us for all the evil that we did unto him. And they sent messengers unto Joseph, saying, thy father did command before he died, saying, so shall ye say unto Joseph, forgive, I pray thee now, the trespass of thy brethren and their sin, for they did evil unto thee. And now we pray thee, forgive their trespasses of their servants of the Yah of thy father. And Joseph wept when they spake unto him. Right? So I don't even know if this is true. They were like, hey, look, you know, dad said before he died, like, forgive us. Like, don't kill us, please. So then Joseph cries, right? So he's sad.
He wants to kill them.
I don't think so. And his brethren also went and fell down before his face. Again they bowed and said, behold, we be thy servant. And Joseph said unto them, fear not, for I am in a place of Yah. But as for you, ye thought evil against me, but Yah meant it unto good, to bring it to pass as it is this day, to save much alive. Now therefore fear ye not, I will nourish you and your little ones, and ye shall be comforted them, and spake kindly unto them. So sometimes in our life we go through things, and it feels like the world is turned against us. But sometimes Yah is putting us in a situation because he has greater things for us. But if, like what you said, what if Joseph tried to get out of it? Could Yah raise him up? Right? No. So we have to have what? Patient faith, patient, enduring faith, right? We have to take the things that Yah brings before us patiently, so that when it's time and season for Yah to raise us up, we can be raised up. So after a long while, now Joseph dies, right? So Jacob died, his father died, eventually Joseph dies. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I die, and Yah will surely visit you and bring you out of this land, and unto the land which he sware to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. So, right, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are forefathers. Yes, Jacob's dead, so is Abraham and Isaac. But before they died, Yah had promised a land. He promised a promise, right, unto Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, right? That's the promise of a great nation and the promised land, right?
Yeah, but they never got to see it.
They never got to see it, but just because Yah promises something to you doesn't mean you're going to get to see it.
That would be sad. Like he promised you this land. So he promises you die.
Well, I actually think they all got to see it. They didn't own it at the time. I think they all traveled through the land, but they didn't at that time own it. And Jacob, verse 25, and Joseph took an oath of his children, saying, children of Israel, saying, Yah will surely visit you, and ye shall carry my bones up thence. Right? So he already knew that he was going to be buried in Egypt, but he said, when you leave, when Yah takes you out, when he visits you and takes you guys out of Egypt, take my bones with you. Yes, sweetie pie.
What happens if they
How
did?
long is this gonna go?
You know what? That was rude. That was just rude.
Well,
Get
guess what
her
you
out
can
of
do?
here.
You can take a nap. And then when you're done taking a nap, then next Sabbath, you can take a nap too. And that way, when it's time for service, you won't be sleepy or rude. Because you stay up and you play and do everything else, and then now when it's time for service, now you don't want to have time for service. Y'all asked me to tell you, I was fine with telling you the first half. You guys want to do the end. And I told you from the beginning it was very long. Sit up. Did I not tell you it was very long? Okay.
I'm enjoying this.
That's why, and she should be too. And that's why you're over there trying to go to sleep. That's okay. You can take a nap after we get done with class. No more playing for you. So now this is the part where it leads us to Moses. So Joseph's dead, and they spent, so from like Joseph going into Egypt, or from Jacob going into Egypt, they spent 440 years in Egypt. That's a long time. And finally, Yah delivered the children of Israel out by the hand of Moses. Exodus, chapter 1, verse 7.
Wait, so they lived for 440 years?
No. So Jacob and all the children of Jacob had 12 sons. Now those are the children of Israel. That's what when we say the children of Israel, those are the lineage of Jacob's 12 sons, right? So they went into Egypt and they spent 440 years, like not those 12 sons, but his lineage, all of his descendants spent 440 years in Egypt. And Moses is of the tribe of Levi. He is one of those descendants. Are you asking a question? Okay. And so, are you in Exodus? Because I never saw you turn your Bible. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty. And the land was filled with them. So they're in Egypt, right? And who lives in Egypt?
God.
Egyptians live in Egypt. But because, remember, Yah said he's going to multiply them, make them a great people.
Oh, they do.
No. Stop doing that, please. That is rude.
The crocodile?
No, not yet. But they became a great people. So there's a lot of them. So Egypt is for Egyptians, but now there's so many Israelites living all amongst the Egyptians. So this is becoming a problem, right? So the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people and the children of Israel are more mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join into our enemies and fight against us, and so get them out of the land. So a new Pharaoh that came, that knew not Joseph and knew not anything, he's like, these people are too strong. There's too many of them. And there's going to be a war one day, and they're going to join our enemies, and they're going to wipe us out. So let's wipe them out before they can wipe us out, right? And therefore, verse 11, therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramesses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians, bless you, baby. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. So this is how we get to Moses. Because what happens when Moses comes up?
They're slaves.
They're slaves, right? And they don't like being slaves, right? So they cry unto Yah, and Yah raises up who? No, Yah raises up Moses. But before Moses, you want to put the fan off?
I can't afford the fan, but it's just to get my
Can you please get up?
If I just sit here, you have to get up.
Kamari.
Hold up.
Let's go. They're waiting.
Yeah, I'm ready.
But before Moses can leave, cut the fan on.
Before Moses can.
Before Moses can. That's okay. We're almost done. Before Moses can leave Egypt, what does he have to do?
Take the children out of Egypt.
No. Well, yes, but no, that's not what I'm talking about. What was he told to do before the children of Israel can leave Egypt? What are they supposed to do?
Take his body.
Take Joseph's bones, right? Exodus 13. Exodus 13. Sit up, pull your dress down. And 17. Then it came to pass when Pharaoh had let the people go, finally, right? When did Pharaoh let the people go? After what? After blood, frogs, fleas, flies.
Okay, there's a faster way to say this.
No. We're going to do it right.
Blood.
Blood, frogs, fleas, flies.
Blood, frogs, fleas, flies.
Animals, boils, hail, and locusts.
Animals, boils, hail, and locusts.
Darkness. Death. Right? So after the 10 plagues, finally, Pharaoh lets them go. And it came to pass when Pharaoh let them go, that Yah did not lead them by the way to the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For Yah said, lest perhaps the people change their minds and they see war and they return to Egypt. So Yah led the people out by the land of the wilderness of the Red Sea. And the children of Israel went up in orderly ranks out of the land of Egypt. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, and he had placed the children of Israel under solemn oath, saying, Yah will surely visit you, and ye shall carry up my bones from here with you. So Joseph did not want his bones to be left in Egypt, just like Jacob didn't want his bones to be left in Egypt.
What is wrong with Egypt?
Well, Egypt is known as like bondage or captivity. So whenever you hear like nowadays, you'll hear people refer to bondage and they'll refer to it as Egypt because that was one of our greatest bondages. We spent 440 years in Egypt in bondage. Right.
So you and Daddy was in
No, Ariel. This is a long time ago. The children of Israel spent 440 years. This is before they got to the promised land, because then they go through the wilderness and everybody that came out of Egypt dies, but all their children go into the promised land. Can you pay attention, please?
I'm trying to fix it.
You don't need to fix that right now. Well, if you get over here on the seat, it wouldn't poke you. Get over here. Right? So after they go through the wilderness, then they go into the promised land. And that is the end of our story of Joseph and how Joseph leads to Moses.
Okay,
but I do want to make a note before we go, because we're almost done. We are done. So you know how Jacob had, how many sons did Jacob have? 12, which are the children of Israel. But when you look at the, like, in heaven, right, there's a gate for each tribe, but Dan, I believe, is not mentioned. So most people don't understand or know why Dan is not mentioned. But Joseph had 2 sons. Remember, Pharaoh gave Joseph a wife, and Joseph had 2 sons. He had a son named Ephraim, and he had a son named Manasseh. And I believe Manasseh was the younger of the sons. And so before Jacob died, Jacob took Joseph's 2 sons, right? He's like laying in his bed. And before he died, he's like, and the right hand was supposed to go on the elder and the left hand was supposed to go on the younger. And so he puts his right hand on the younger. And Joseph gets mad because right now at this point in time, Jacob's blind, so he can't see. He's like, no, you got your hands mixed up, switch them. And he was like, no, I know what I'm doing because Manasseh is going to be greater than Ephraim. And he's like, these are my sons. So essentially, Jacob like engrafts Joseph's sons. So really, there's like more than 12 tribes because Ephraim and Manasseh become like tribes within Israel. And that's it. And we're all done. Ooh. I told you it was a long story. We started, I think Joseph starts at like Genesis 37 and goes all the way to Genesis 50.
How long have I
Did I saw the spider under the bed?
I don't know. Probably you saw a spider. I don't know how long we've been going.
It's 1 hour and 14 minutes and 24 seconds. And no, it's not.
Okay, cool. All right. So we got to pray out. And are we going to sing today?
No.
Ow!
Sit
You
down.
broke my leg.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, my
So
hair.
he engrafts a cement body.
No, he doesn't engraft them into body. Who's praying?
Not me, not me.
Excuse me? Who's praying?
Hurry up.
No.
No, go ahead. Since you want to volunteer her, let every man look on his own things. You look on things of others. So you want to volunteer her? Go ahead and pray. Sit down and pray.
I am
Sit down
I am sitting down.
the right way.
I have to sit down like this.
Go ahead and pray.
Thank you.
Excuse me?
Okay. Sorry.
You need to apologize to the Most High.
Thank you all for the day. Thank you for letting us have this long service that people stayed through the whole entire service and watch a video. Thank you for letting my mom cover the rest of the video. I'm sorry for doing your prayer like Pastor's name.
Amen. Hand me my books now off the floor and hand them to me nicely. Put some respect on my books, boy.
But seriously, why do I have to put up?
Stop, Mari.
Why like to put me in children?
So close.
This service was brought to you by Sit Down. The Magenta Dahlia. A wonderful. Goodbye. Go ahead and leave because I'm tired of speaking to you. I've asked you to stop. Sit right there on the outside of my door. Open the door, go outside and sit there right by my door. Was brought to you by the Magenta Dahlia, a wonderful coloring book that teaches your children to endure through life struggles. It's a story coloring book. Also brought to you by the 3 Little Hebrew Boys and the Big Bad Wolf, a story about Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego as they go through the fiery furnace. It has a storybook and 2 coloring books, one for younger children and one for older children. I hope you guys have a wonderful Sabbath. Apparently my children don't want to sing. Apparently I bored them with the story that I told them I wasn't going to tell them anyways because it was very long, but whatever. Next time I'm just gonna leave it off.
Wait.
Yes.
Hey, I sing a song. We make a beautiful, that song.
Sing a little bit to me.
We make a beautiful world for Christ people. That song.
Waymaker,
Yeah.
miracle,
Yeah, that song.
keep a light in the darkness. Fire, that is who you are. I don't know the whole song. Okay, well we're gonna sing. We're gonna sing what I know. Okay. Promise keeper, light in the darkness, Maya, that is who you are. Again. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, Maya, that is who you are. You wanna sing it one more time? Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, Maya, that is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. I know the song. I don't know. If you guys know how that song starts, please put it in the comment section and then next week we'll sing it.
Mom is supposed to put.
Okay, let's make it happy if I wave. All right, you guys, Shabbat Shalom. I love you to yawn back. Help us figure out how this song starts. Now I'm gonna have to look it up. That's gonna be irritating me. I don't know. Anyways, you guys enjoy.
How do you take this off?
Over here in live broadcast.
What can I do?
Yeah, go ahead. Waymaker.